And well, that was a fun video, wasn't it? But it is a bit outdated, so let's get into this one. This one's going to be a little bit more hefty, but I will put timestamps in here to link you to certain points of the video if there's only some things you are looking for. So, there's a few things you're going to need starting off here. VB Audio, Voicemeeter Banana or Voicemeeter Pro, you can go ahead and download that over here. VB Audio Cable, which will give you two virtual outputs, we can go and sort those out later. Audacity to record, obviously you can use Audition if you have Audition, but Audacity is free and easy to use. OBS you can also use to record, and you can also set up Voicemeeter to work for that for streaming and recording if you do gameplay or anything like that. I'm recording using it now. Skype and or Discord if you want to record voice chat. So once you have all of those downloaded, you'll need to extract a VB cable and you'll get a folder like this. There'll be two setup files. One's called setup, one's x64. If you're not sure which one to run, right click on this PC, go to properties, and you'll see here mine says 64-bit operating system x64. If yours says x64, run the file that says x64, and if yours doesn't say that, then run the other one. When you open one of those, it will say install driver. I already have it installed, so for me it says remove driver. It doesn't take very long at all. Similar thing for Voicemeeter, when you open that, it will say install driver. Just click it. For me, it's going to say remove, so I won't bother doing that. Installing Audacity, pretty straightforward, just run through the whole thing. Same thing with OBS. Once all of those are installed, you can go ahead and open up Voicemeeter. When you start it out, you'll need to set up all your hardware inputs and outputs. So I'll actually go over the new sound settings in the Windows 10 Creators Update for you now. So if you go ahead and type in sound into the start menu, you'll get this menu. And this is familiar, this is what we had last time, and we'll set this up now while it's in front of us. So for the playback, you want to select right click and set as default communications device for whatever device is your monitoring device, so your headphones or your speakers. Preferably if you're recording, record through headphones so that the sound coming out of your speakers won't muddy the recording. You shouldn't be able to hear it if you're playing through headphones. And then you're going to right click on the brand new VB Audio Cable B and set that as your default device. Go over to the recording tab and select whatever your recording device is. So for me it is this one here, the in. I'm using a audio interface, the Roland Duo Capture EX. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I have used it for ages. I use the Focusrite Scarlett 2i2, and I've just found the preamps in this to be a little bit cleaner. So if you are looking at getting an audio interface, I highly recommend this one. I think it's fantastic. I've segued a little bit, but set this one as your default device. So again, right click and you'll set as default device. Now, the cool thing that's in Windows 10 is that if you go to settings, system, and then sound, you'll get this. And now this isn't anything new, and this is where you can get to the sound control panel. But what is new is this app volume and device preferences. So if you click on that, it will show you all of the open apps, and it will give you an input and an output. So this is outside of Voicemeeter, but you can actually choose through Windows, through the system settings, what you want the output to be. So for some apps, you won't be able to choose what the output is. So for Discord, for instance, you can choose where you want the output to be going. For something like Spotify, you can't. So what I have done is I've gone to Spotify and I've had that set to Voicemeeter input, and make sure it is the VAIO output. And all that means is that when I go over into Voicemeeter now, Spotify will be coming through on this channel here. And so if I'm recording, I can choose to have that not go to any of the recordings, but have both these unselected. So I can be listening to music and it won't affect my recording at all. I'll go into that in a little bit more towards the end once we've set everything up. But for the time being, let's set everything up in Voicemeeter. So your hardware input 1, you're going to want to have as your microphone. Input 2, you want to have as cable A. And input 3, you're going to want to have as input B. You're then going to want to set your physical audio 1 output to your headphones or whatever you chose in the sound settings. And now you should be hearing yourself, and if you set up Spotify just like I did, you'll be hearing the Spotify too. So I don't actually want to be hearing Spotify right now, so I'll close that off, and I don't want to be hearing my voice at any point, so I'll close that off too. So the way that this works is that there are 3 physical outputs, so actual things that you're going to be listening to the sound to, so your headphones, speakers, etc., and 2 virtual outputs, and these are what we're going to be using for recording to. These are going to be what you're going to set up for your system audio. So we set that to cable B. So any desktop sounds, apart from Spotify, are going to be coming through here. So any gameplay will be coming through here if you're recording that, or if you're playing a YouTube video, that will record through this channel. And your friend's audio will be coming through this channel. So first things first, if there's any speaking going to be happening through these channels, we're going to want to set them to mono. Because as you can see at the moment, this is only coming through in the left channel. Now it's coming through on both. So it's not stereo as such, because we're not getting any sort of drift between the left and right channels. But it just means that if we are recording a stereo channel, so if any videos are playing in stereo and we want to record them, that the voices won't just be locked into someone's left headphone or something like that. So this is us more or less done. We're going to select B2 so that we can record just our voice if we want to with nothing else. But basically we're going to be using this output to record most things. So this is going to be the standard output and not the aux output, which is what this is. So now we're going to go over to Audacity. So when we open up Audacity, we just want to change the output so that it is, let's just check it's the right one. I'm pretty sure that's the right one. So that's the aux output, and that is the Voicemeeter output, and you can see it's the VB audio, and it will say the VAIO at the end. Set it to stereo. So now if I hit record, you'll see that my voice is showing up, and it's showing up on both channels. If I were to, for instance, change this so that the Spotify track was coming through, so instead of it being silent now, you can see that it's recording Spotify as well underneath this, and obviously you can mix this to an extent, make that music louder or quieter. I can remove this, and if I were on Skype or Discord to someone, then obviously they would be coming through there. Now, speaking of Skype and Discord, let's go and set that up right now. So if you go over into Discord, you go to settings and voice and video, you need to go set your input device to whatever your input was. So for me, my microphone, and your output device to VB cable A. So this channel here. You'll want to do a similar thing with Skype as well. So just setting your speakers or your output to cable A. This means that if you have anyone speaking, they will be coming through this channel, and they will be coming through on your recording. So that's the basics out of the way if you just want to be using Audacity and you're fine with having your voice, any background noise, and other people's voices all on the same channel in the recording mixed together. If you want something a bit different and you want to have everyone else's voices on separate channels, then this is where Open Broadcaster comes in. So in Open Broadcaster, there's a little bit of fiddly setup, but once you get it done, it's just going to be working flawlessly all the time. I'd just like to pop in a quick disclaimer here. I'm editing the video now, and I've realized that this little segment wasn't as clear as I would have liked it to be. Though, if you can still follow along with it, that is perfect. If you have any questions, then please do not hesitate to put something in the comments asking me, and maybe it'll even be worth me redoing this segment if enough people have issues with it. Back to the video. So, you're going to want to go to File, Settings, and Audio. In here, you can choose your audio devices. So my microphone, I have set to my microphone. My main desktop audio device set to B, which is what we set our desktop audio to come through, so any game sounds, stuff like that. And desktop audio device 2, which is any Skype or Discord, is set to cable A. So now we can go to Output, Recording, and you can see that I've chosen an MOV file format, and I've chosen audio tracks 1, 2, and 3. And that will become apparent why that's important in a second, but basically all the stuff below that isn't important. So long as you're not recording video, if you're just wanting the audio of whatever it is you're recording, all this stuff below here can be absolute garbage. The encoder could be anything. The output could be as low as you want. It could be a 1x1 pixel recording, and the bitrate could be anything. It's not affecting the audio. The audio settings are all over here. Now I have my audio bitrate set to 160 because it makes a slightly smaller file size, and I can't really tell any difference between anything higher than that myself, and so I think that's fine. So I have it set up, just naming the tracks 1, 2, 3 as game, voice, and Discord. Obviously that could be Discord, Skype, whatever else that is, and game would be just any desktop sound. Now these refer to this over here under the mixer panel. So go to Advanced Audio Properties. Now, these will show that your 3 outputs. So again, any audio, like speaking we want that to be mono. Anything else we want that to be kept stereo. And then here comes the selecting of the tracks. So the tracks that we saw earlier back in the settings refer to what track is being recorded here. There's a lot of the same terminology. I'm hoping this isn't getting too confusing, but I have my desktop audio set to track 1, my microphone set to track 2, Discord or Skype set to track 3, and then all of them record to track 4. Now, what this means, going back to our recording settings, is that I'm recording tracks 1, 2, and 3, and they will come out as separate channels. So if I'm editing in Premiere or convert this to an MP3 and drag it into Audacity, I'll have 3 separate channels which I can mix independently without. So say I was talking and I was on Skype and someone talked over me, and then they stopped and I finished what I was saying, then they carried on. Because these would be recorded to 2 separate tracks, I'd be able to separate those and clean up the audio much easier rather than people speaking over each other and such. And maybe you're playing a game and loud noise happens and it muddies out your talking. Well, you can just lower the volume of that track in this case. And then if you're streaming, you notice I had all of those set to track 4. I'm not recording track 4 here because that is all of them on this slightly muddied channel. But for streaming, I have track 4 selected. So I have all of my audio going out in one thing. So if I'm recording, people will be able to hear who I'm talking to if I choose to. Because obviously I could go to Voicemeeter and just mute that. They'll be able to hear my desktop audio and me speaking. So that's pretty much it. When you go to listen to the video back once you've recorded it, you might only be able to listen to one thing, and that's because normally video players will only play back one audio channel that's recorded on a file. However, if you were to drop these into an editing program like DaVinci, Premiere Pro, or whatever it is you're using, and if you're not using an editing program, you don't know what to do, and you don't want to pay for one, Blackmagic DaVinci Resolve is a fantastic option. I highly recommend that. But if you drop it into there, you will see all those separate channels and be able to modify them separately. And again, if you drop this into Audition, if you're using the Adobe Suite, you'll see all of those. If you convert it to an MP3, depending on how you do it, and then drop this into Audacity, you should also be able to see those 3 channels as well. So, I think that's pretty much it for this video. I hope this has answered people's queries. Some people were having some problems with the other one, and I think that was to do with not having this extra input where you can select your desktop audio to go through and stuff like that. So I hope this has solved some of your problems, and if you're brand new, I hope this has given you a new lease of life going into your recording, podcasting, or whatever it is that you are doing. So I thought that I'd record this bit and just tack this on at the end, so if you're using Premiere Pro or an editing software, you can kind of see what it was I was on about. So if I just go ahead and drop in this video, the recording that I've just done, and then put this into the timeline, you'll see here that there are these 3 audio channels here. So obviously only one of them is basically populated at the moment, which will be my voice. This is basically what it would look like rather than just having the one channel which you would have normally from Audacity. Yeah, I hope this has sort of sorted things out for you guys a little bit.